Hello, everybody. This is Swati live from New Delhi. I am saying good morning because it is morning time here. It may be different times in different parts of the world. So, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just get ready to immerse yourself in mindfulness for next half an hour and then hopefully for next almost 5.5 weeks. First, logistics. I I want to say that please email me with any questions or comments to meditate together at gmail.com. To meditate together at gmail.com. As many of you know, I have launched the app To Meditate, and we also have a Facebook page called To Meditate. So give us likes on the Facebook page. Just go on your Facebook, search for To Meditate, and then when you get the page, like it. That helps us to spread the word about mindfulness. And the whole purpose of this camp is to spread the word about mindfulness, because mindfulness, no matter what else you are doing, it's going to add something valuable to your life. There was a question about can I mix TM and mindfulness meditation, and my first reaction was don't mix two psychologists, and I still hold to that, except that if even if you're doing some other practice, mindfulness in terms of just being mindful and the way we are doing it right now, which is basically to do mindful activities, that you can always add to your life. It's not necessarily a formal meditation practice, but it is about focusing on the things you want to do, enriching, as well as becoming more and more aware of how your body and mind reacts to experiences. That you can do no matter what other practice you're doing. Like I said before, I'm going to answer some questions that I couldn't get to. Then we'll get to the meditation, rather the activity, and then we will again get to the new questions and answers. And meanwhile, at some point, I also want to read something out to you. As I said, I'm hoping every time I can give you something you can hold on to, a story, a poem, or a research study, or some cool fact. So first the questions. So there was a question about, very important question. It's something that people have wondered about in a lot of different ways. The question is, if by practicing mindfulness, if I become detached from my feelings, how about the positive feelings? When it comes to negative feelings, yes, it would be a good idea to become an observer, not getting immersed in the feeling, but simply observing. But how about when the feelings are positive? Will I become too detached? And that's a very good question, because even long-term meditators, sometimes one of the issues that they may or may not, sometimes they may not even become aware of it, but they become detached in a way that in the intimate relationships, sometimes it may matter. That person may seem unreachable. The answer to that question, I found the answer to this question in a very beautiful way. It says that happens. I have two answers to this. Okay, the first one is when you become a detached observer to the degree that even in intimate relationships people cannot reach you, what is coming in your way is not mindfulness but your pride or your ego. Sometimes people may become too self-assured or proud that they can just detach themselves and observe. And when the pride factor comes in, then there is a barrier, everything stops. Intimate feelings will stop at that barrier. So it's not so much about mindfulness. The second part is how about positive feelings? What is the positive feeling that we would like to experience? Is the joy or the bliss? Now, mindfulness doesn't stop that feeling. However, when you are training yourself, let's say mindful tea or mindfully listening to music, there was a question that I didn't feel the feelings as intensely, or I didn't have the same kind of intense feelings as I generally do. Yes, in that case, you are training yourself to observe. However, by doing this training, and later on when we learn mindfulness meditations, the whole idea is to deal with feeling the way they are, reality, not based on stories. When you prepare yourself like this, there is a transcending that can happen. You're not afraid of negative feelings as much. Or rather, even when there is something not so positive going on, you are still able to transcend it and look around and look at and experience the joy. So it does not stop the joy if that's the positive feeling you want to experience. In fact, there's so many other positive things that can come through mindfulness training, that the detached observer is not the one that is product of mindfulness, but as I said, it is really product of pride. Before I answer, there was another question, but before I answer that, I would like you guys to do this. Think about what mindful activities you would like to do during the day, or things that are possible to you. For example, I suggested, and I still suggest, every day drinking mindful cup of tea in the morning, or coffee, or whichever drink you want, or the food that you eat. Again, I don't expect you to be drinking tea mindfully, the whole cup of tea, if you are really rushed and if you're not able to do that. But I suggest reserve at least 2 minutes to do that. Whenever you can, of course, you can drink the whole cup mindfully. It really adds pleasure to your whatever your experience is. Now, at this point, think about if there's any other activity you think during the day which you could do and to spend few minutes of being mindful. And you can comment here if you think about an activity while I get rid of this thing from the bottom. Okay, so please think about it and let me know. Meanwhile, I'm going to attend to some of the comments. Okay, I guess I did answer Ina's question. And there was somebody else saying hello to me. I would like to say hello back to them. So let me know if there is any other activity. Now, while you're doing it, while you're thinking about it, I'm going to already start my mindfulness cup of tea, mindful cup of tea. I suggest that if you think about an activity, you can comment here. Otherwise, after this cup of tea, I will suggest a couple of activities. Just let go of everything else you think you need to do. It can wait for just a few minutes. And just notice, and also notice the enjoyment that can come to you. For example, when I hold this cup of tea, the warmth of the cup is so comforting. There was a research study done on how when you have warm cup of tea or warm in the morning, how that can be comforting, and that can reduce the number of curse words you use. People do all kinds of studies. Okay, let's get to our activity. Now, those of you who have started drinking their drink mindfully or doing any other activity, please continue doing that while I just go over some of the comments. Okay, so now let's get to a little bit of summary of the comments. I like this one. It says, drinking tea with glucose biscuits. I guess you noticed that I was eating glucose biscuits with my tea. That is my vice. But there are some other interesting activities like yogasana. True, yogasana is absolutely the time when you can pay attention to the way your body sensations are working. Jogging, yes, again, you may not be able to jog the whole time with mindfulness, although if you do that, kudos to you. But select maybe few minutes at a time and pay attention to your shins or pay attention to some part of your body to see how the muscles and everything feels like. Now, some of these activities may not involve all the 5 body senses that we have talked about or that exist, but think about whichever one is the most prominent one. Like jogging, for example, it will be basically how the muscles feel like. Reading, no, because reading is not really about being mindful of what's happening with me, my body and mind at the moment. In fact, when you're reading, your mind goes away somewhere else. It runs with the characters and a story. It can be a very joyous activity, but I won't say that you can add mindfulness to reading. Uh, Brushing teeth and walking, yes, I in fact was thinking about it this morning. Brushing teeth was one thing I was going to mention. One could do whatever it is, a few minutes or few seconds if it is not a very long activity. Cleaning my house, yes, again, select few minutes and do the cleaning your house activity with mindfulness. In that case, you will be using all your 5 senses, not so much tasting the cleaning material in your mouth, but just noticing what taste you have in your mouth occasionally. But it will be basically the other 4 senses that you would be using. So there are a lot of these activities. Now, there was also a question that I would like to attend to because it is an important question. For householders like us, what do you suggest should our ultimate target for mindful meditation or mindful activities be per day? That is, how many sessions time per day and how long each session and time. Okay, so now the ultimate target, I cannot say that, because that will be probably something that you will come up with the maximum. I would really I would like to talk about the minimum that you should be doing. Now, in terms of studies or research studies, there is no specific answer as to what's the crossing line. Like below that line, if it is only 1 minute a day, it won't help you. But anytime you do it for more than 1 minute a day, it would help you. There is not like one line that you can cross. However, the studies have shown that you really don't need to meditate for 1 or 2 hours a day or something like that in order for your brain to change, or in order for you to have benefits such as stress reduction, as well as dealing better with negative feelings, as well as to experience certain joys of life, which is what our goal is. So basically, this is what I think should be in the end the goal: 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. The reason I'm saying it is because there was this well-known study where they had college students, and then they did neuroimaging studies before and after, as well as self-reported stress reduction. And these college students, the control group, did not have the mindfulness training. What they had asked to meditate was 20 minutes a day, 5 times a week. And for 8 weeks, that's what they did. And after that, there was a change in the direction that we are talking about, significant change in that direction. So that's the study. You can kind of keep it in your mind. Now, the question is, after the 8 weeks, do you still need to do it for that amount of time? Now, instead of going with studies, I'll tell you what most mindfulness meditation teachers will say. They will say, even on the days when you are not able to meditate, do some activity or something for at least 2 minutes a day. I don't know why they say 2 minutes, but I have experienced it myself. And that's partly why my app, To Meditate, has 2 minute meditations. All throughout the day, if you feel stressed out or if you remember, you can just go on the phone and then listen to 2 minutes, the 2 minute meditations. Um, so this is what I suggest. On my app, go to there are tutorials. In that tutorials, there is something that says suggested good practice. So you can look at that. But start with 2 minutes a day. Now, if you're doing mindful activity, start with one activity a day. Later on, when we get to meditations, then take the meditation that you like and do it at least for 2 minutes. And then I would suggest go up to at least 20 minutes, as much as you can. Beyond 20 minutes, it's up to you. Start with 2 minutes, go up to 20 minutes, but do at least 2 minutes a day every day, just to get you into that. The study at Harvard, the famous study at Harvard that Sarah Lazar, the neuroscientist, did on MBSR, which is mindfulness-based stress reduction, there you go only for once a week, and I think it's 8 weeks or 6 weeks, something of that sort, either 8 or 6. I think it is 6 weeks. So you go one evening, and then in between two classes, you're supposed to meditate on your own. We are doing it every day, and I think that is the reason why I thought I would go live every day, because that would encourage you to actually do the meditation in between meditation that MBSR suggests. In that, Sarah Lazar found that basically it was 27 minutes on the average. Some people did it less, some people didn't do it, some people did it for longer time. So even with 27 minutes a day, she said that brain structure changes. That's what she found. And that's the amazing part. So in what way brain structure changes, we'll get to that when we talk about the neurology. But basically, it actually your brain that you're changing by practicing mindfulness. Whatever positive results you're going to experience, it is partly because your brain is getting more and more structured in that way, we can say. So that is the answer, not a precise answer, but there are ways in which you can Start 2 minutes a day, and then after that, go up to 20 minutes a day. That's really my suggestion, my answer to your question. And I don't see any other questions here as far as I know. Um, there is one thing that I want to do today before we finish and before we get together next time. I would like to read this poem the next few minutes. So listen to this poem carefully. Some of you know this poem. The first time I read it was in the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying, and then I found out it was a book. It was a poem, autobiography in 5 short chapters by Portia Nelson. It's wonderful. Listen to this. Chapter 1. I walk down the street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I fall in. I'm lost. I'm helpless. It isn't my fault. It takes me forever to find a way out. Chapter 2. I walk down the same street. There's a deep hole in the sidewalk. I pretend I don't see it. I fall in again. I can't believe I'm in the same place, but it's not my fault. It still takes a long time to get out. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I see it's there. I still fall in. It's a habit. My eyes are open. I know where I am. It's my fault. I get out immediately. Chapter 4. I walk down the same street. There is a deep hole in the sidewalk. I walk around it. Chapter 5. I walk down another street. So some of you will know why I'm reading this poem here. Some of you may have some reactions a little bit later in the day. Whatever reactions you have, do write to me. I would love to hear your comments. It's one of my favorite poems, and it's very relevant to the work we are doing here. So to meditate together at gmail.com. And if there is anybody whose question I haven't answered, either from the email or from here, you will get to that. Don't worry. And I'll wait to hear from you and your comments. Thank you very much, and I'll see you tomorrow.